What's up, everybody? It's your dude, Born Shining here. I'm born shining, you're born shining, and don't let nobody ever tell you otherwise. And if they do try, just tune them out. So, I had the thought to write a poem. Well, first off, it's been a while since I have posted anything. I've been going through a lot of transitions, been a period of transition for me, and I've been transmuting a lot of the negativity and the darkness into something positive. And I've always had an eternal optimism about life, about my life and life in general. And today, while I was doing some studying and listening to and learning about the subconscious and what's going on inside my head and my heart, I had the inspiration to write a poem, and so I'm going to read that. But before I do, I just want to give a shout out to the great spirit, the great creator, the life, universal life force, which moves through all things. I'd like to thank Ra. I'd like to thank the archangels, Jesus and the ascended masters. I'd like to thank my spirit guides and spirit animals. I'd like to thank my ancestors and crossover loved ones. I'd like to thank all the invisible helpers, galactic assistants, and I'd like to thank my friends, known and unknown, seen and unseen. And I'd also like to thank all my enemies and all the people who, all the doubters, for making me stronger and making me really dig deep to really figure out where it is that I sit and what I want to accomplish and achieve in this world, and really refining my vision of what I want to see, my end result. And with that said, I held certain beliefs, and I don't negate others' beliefs. I just encourage people to be positive and come from a place of love, whatever you decide to believe. Just make sure that it's love based. And so before I read this poem, I also want to say that, you know, ever since I was a child, I've really been inspired by people who have made an impact on this world, positive impact on this world, and it cost them their lives. And, since I was a young child, that was one thing that was really apparent to me, is that the fastest way to lose your life is to try to make a positive change in this world. The fastest way to put a target on your back is to try to change things for the positive. And so people like Martin Luther King Jr. and Gandhi and, Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy, I know a lot of these people, they tried to do good things and they tried to make changes and they paid for it. And in our collective subconscious, what these stories, and by the way, I know there's a lot more people out there. I mean, these are just some of the more recognizable names, especially to people in the West. And I know there's a lot more people out there who don't get the credit that they deserve. Um, Victor Hara, there's a lot of people in this world who've tried to make positive change and uplift people. Bob Marley, and they paid for it with their lives. And I believe there is an active force that is hell bent on making people feel hopeless about trying to affect any kind of positive change in this world. And they will do whatever they need to do to keep people trapped in a state of fight, flight, or freeze. You know, subconsciously, whether you want to admit it or not, as a humanity, in our subconscious, this is the message that we've been receiving: is that if you want to try, if you, it will cost you your life if you try to make this world a better place. And I don't just mean a little bit better. I mean, if you try to change the systems and structures that exist today that are oppressing people all over the world and holding people down, it's going to cost you your life. And so for me, you know, one of the things that I've wrestled with is that something that I'm willing to give up? Am I willing to make myself a target? And for a long time I wasn't. I mean, even in my life, my personal life, that's what I was taught, was if I speak up, it's going to make people uncomfortable, and it might cost me my physical safety. It might cost me my physical security. It's dangerous to speak out and try to make a positive change in this world. And so, despite my own journey with this, I've never given up hope. I've never given up. I've never abandoned the possibility that this world can be the beautiful place that I see it as for everyone. That we can all not just live together in peace, but that we can thrive in peace. Because peace is more than just the absence of violence. Peace isn't just not fighting. Peace is literally more. It's more than tolerating. It's being able to learn from each other and grow with each other and encourage each other despite our differences, and be able to see the value in diversity, and paradoxically realize that we are all one. You know, this life is a beautiful paradox. We're all one, and at the same time we all have our individual perspectives. And I think all of that needs to be celebrated and encouraged. And I do believe that it's possible to create a world of harmony and unity and abundance. And so with that, you know, I do believe this life is a beautiful paradox. And some things may seem counterintuitive. But if you want peace, you can't do nothing. If you want peace, you got to fight for it. Not with violence, not with guns and knives and war machines that take lives, but with love. You got to fight with love. Love is the weapon of choice. Love is the emotion you need in your voice. Not pity, resentment, or anger, disgust. Not a victimhood mentality or displays of distrust. Love is the bridge between hearts, between nations, the bridge that unites where there was once separations. There will be no talk of financial reparations because, as far as I can tell, the whole human race has been through hell. No group is off the hook for the historical pain that leaves many shook. No, instead of pointing fingers, we should be shaking hands and being light bringers. I'm not one for killing, but we should lay the past to rest because our future is bright and we must do our best. You get what you focus on. What you focus on grows. So let's not feed division. We must all work together to achieve this vision. We must fight against the way we've all been conditioned. We must fight for the children and their children's children. Again, not with anger or toxic entitlement, but with compassion and empathy and being present. We can look for the root of this devil, look for people to blame, or just be men and women of integrity and move on just the same. Nothing is more sacred than life. And if you're waiting for others' approval to protect it, you're not doing it right. Earth is a blessing. Who said it's a curse? Be wary of anyone contradicting this verse, for their end is not the same as mine, and they have not tickets for the show in my mind. I don't buy that things have got to be worse before they're better. Set your mind free from that anchor untether. If you're waiting for people in power to relinquish their grip, then you've got to change your perspective because it's with you power sits. That's the end of my poem that I got right now. You know, people, if we just come together and we stop waiting around for these leaders, you know, to get their act straight, we can force them to get their act straight. It's really quite simple. I mean, here in the United States, where I'm at right now, you know, we have a system of checks and balances between the three branches of government. But the fourth and most unspoken of check on the government is the people. It's the sleeping giant. The government is not going to solve our problems because the government is an entity. The federal government is an entity that is seeking its own preservation. So at this point, looking to the government it's not going to work. That's not the way to do it. We need to look to each other. We need to unite. And we need to find a common ground that we can all stand upon, a common platform, and we can all move forward from there. It doesn't make sense to be arguing and fighting about things amongst ourselves when it's the leaders who are divisive. I tell you what, anybody who's running for office, any politician in the West, especially in the United States, who's not talking about the Federal Reserve, who's not talking about how members of Congress can't hold a title, especially being active in the bar, because the bar is really an allegiance to the crown of England. Okay, anybody who's talking about these things is not, they might as well be saying nothing as far as I'm concerned. So if you really want to make a change in this world, if you really want to make a change in your life, the best thing that you can do is shut off your TV and get out in the street and not picketing and protesting, but meeting your neighbors. All right? Meeting your neighbors. I'm pretty sure you'll find that everybody wants to be happy and healthy and to be able to make the decisions that they feel are best for them. All right? The problem is that we've got power structures that want to keep people divided. And we've got power structures that literally are profiting off of people's misery. All right? There's a business of keeping people sick and divided and in fear. And when you start learning about how an individual can experience trauma and the issues and challenges that people with PTSD have to overcome, then it'll start making sense why these power structures continue to blast fear on the news, why they continue to make people angry and afraid of each other, and they keep trying to trigger everybody. Because when you're triggered, you're not thinking straight. When you're stuck in your emotions, you're not able to think clearly. We've all got PTSD in some shape, way, or form. So what we really need is healing. And that starts with tuning out all the negativity. Take control of your life. Take control of your mind. And shut off the news. Stop reading the news. And get out in the world and see with a new pair of eyes what's around you. Go talk to people. Don't let people tell you what to see, how to feel about people who are different than you or may seem different than you. Go talk to them. And I'm sure you'll find you have a lot more in common than you don't. All right, this is a beautiful place. It's a gift to be here. This life is a blessing. And we need to start treating it as such. All right, but peace doesn't come easy. It takes a lot of effort to be at peace. You're going to have to make some effort to make some changes. And it starts with you. All right, I love you. If you resonate, please share this message. Love you. Peace.